The Bazaar of the Iron Belt was a place where fortunes died. Traders gathered under the shadow of broken moons, hawking scraps from dead empires. Jalen had walked its rust-stained decks for years, a man known only as the owner of the Wayfarer's Folly, a ship so battered that even scavengers laughed when it limped past. Its engines coughed more than they burned, its hull looked stitched together from the corpses of better vessels, and its captain had survived this long only because no pirate ever thought him worth the effort of robbing. On this day, though, Jalen was desperate. His coffers were empty, his contacts silent, and his ship one breath from the grave. He'd come to trade what little he had left, the Folly's old cargo hauler, a jury-rigged shuttle barely fit to carry crates. That was when he saw her. A giantess. She stood alone, taller than any human, broad-shouldered and strong as if the iron belt itself had carved her from stone. Her skin shimmered faintly with metallic hues, her hair silver in the dim bazaar lights, and her eyes, storm-gray and unyielding, met his with a weight that made him stop breathing. Whispers followed her. Exile. Betrayer. Daughter of the iron courts, cast out to rot. But in the bazaar, exiles were only worth what they could lift. Jalen heard the mocking voice of another trader behind him. She's strong enough to carry crates. Sell her cheap, human. You can strap her to that rust bucket of yours, maybe she'll drag it when the engines die. Laughter erupted around them. The words burned. He'd been mocked before, always mocked, but today, the laughter hit deeper. Because he needed something. Anything. And so, with nothing but scrap in his pocket, Jalen struck a bargain. The traders sneered, but the deal was made. He walked away with the giantess at his side, and though their gazes followed him with ridicule, he kept his back straight. What's your name? He asked once they reached the docking bay. The giantess looked down at him, voice low and rough, carrying the echo of 1,000 unspoken battles. Kayla. The Wayfarer's Folly was worse than she expected. Its hull bore scars like open wounds, its corridors groaned under their own weight, and its core flickered as if it longed for death. Kayla paused at the threshold, her storm-gray eyes narrowing. This is your ship. Jalen bristled. She flies. Most of the time. She should be buried. Her words cut deep. Yet when she stepped aboard, something shifted. The lights flickered, runes hidden in the bulkheads glimmered faintly, and the engine's cough deepened into a steady hum. Jalen stared. What did you do? Kayla rested her hand on the console, her voice barely above a whisper. I was bound, long ago, to the blood forges of the iron courts. Even in exile, that bond lingers. Your ship is answering. Answering. The word lingered like fire. Within hours, systems long dead sparked awake. Hull plating shifted, edges smoothing as if steel remembered its old form. Weapon ports, once sealed or stripped, glowed faintly with power. The Folly breathed. Jalen's heart hammered. For the first time in years, he felt hope. And for the first time, he saw Kayla not as a tool for crates, but as something far greater. Their first trial came sooner than either expected. Raiders. 3 ships fell upon them in the void, drawn by the scent of weakness. The Folly had always been prey, but now, with Kayla's presence humming through its bones, it became something else. Shields are online, Jalen whispered, disbelief flooding his voice as the panels lit. Kayla's storm-gray eyes burned. Then fight. He did. The Folly leapt forward with a speed it had never known, weaving between lances of plasma. Cannons awoke like beasts unchained, roaring fire into the void. One raider erupted in flame, another veered off smoking. The third tried to run, but the Folly's weapons cut it down, scattering wreckage into silence. Breathless, Jalen laughed, a sound raw and wild. We won. Kayla, we. But she was pale, her great frame trembling. Her hand still rested on the console, runes burning beneath her skin. It takes much to awaken what sleeps, she rasped. Jalen's joy faltered. He realized then, this wasn't just the Folly. It was Kayla. She was pouring her strength, her soul, into the ship. And he had bound her by trade. Word spread. The human with a junk ship that turned raiders to ash. The exiled giantess at his side. Whispers of power. Whispers of rebellion. It wasn't long before the storm found them. The Iron King's banner filled the void one night, his dreadnought blotting stars. Beside it, the alien queen's fleet glittered like blades. Together they commanded empires. And both demanded the same prize. Kayla. On the comms, the queen's voice dripped venom. Return the exile. She belongs to the courts. Marry her back to the Iron King, and perhaps we will spare your rust. Kayla's storm-gray eyes darkened, old fury surfacing. They cast me out. They stripped my name. Now they would bind me again. Jalen's chest tightened. He saw the weight she bore, the chains of royalty, the cage of duty, the mockery of exile. She had been discarded, only to be claimed again when her worth revealed itself. The Iron King's voice thundered through the void. Daughter. Obey. Or burn. Kayla stood tall, her voice steady. I am no man's pawn. No king's prize. I choose my fate. The queen snarled. Then die with your junk. And the battle began. The void erupted in fire. Dreadnought lances slashed toward them, beams that could shatter moons. The Folly's shields flared, Kayla pouring her soul into the core, and the beams shattered like waves on stone. Still alive, Jalen breathed. Not for long, Kayla growled. Fly. And so he did. The Folly wove through storms of fire, faster than any wreck should move. Cannons roared, spearing frigates, scattering raiders. Jalen felt the ship breathe with him, each maneuver guided, each strike precise. Kayla's presence surged in every hum of the hull. But the enemy was endless. For every ship they burned, 10 more closed in. It's too much. Jalen shouted. Kayla. Her hand pressed harder to the console, runes blazing like suns. This ship lives because we choose it. Human, do you choose? Her words struck like lightning. All his life he had bent. Yielded. Chosen survival over pride. But now, beside her, mocked by kings and threatened by empires, he chose. I choose, he said, voice like iron. With you. Kayla's eyes softened, fierce and bright. Then together. The Iron King's dreadnought loomed, cannons locking on. Kayla lifted her chin, her voice ringing across the comm. I am Kayla of the Iron Courts. Not your pawn. Not your daughter. I choose my own fate. The queen shrieked. Then die. The dreadnought fired. But the Folly had one strike left. Jalen's hands flew across the console. Kayla poured every drop of her soul into the core. The ship blazed like a newborn star, hull screaming, shields burning. Together. Jalen roared. Together. Kayla answered. The Folly leapt. It tore through the storm, cannons flaring point blank. Light speared the dreadnought, splitting it down the middle. Fire consumed the Iron King's flagship, scattering the fleet in terror. The wreck had killed a god. Silence fell. Among burning hulks, the Wayfarer's Folly drifted, scarred, smoking, but alive. Jalen slumped in his chair, laughter spilling raw and breathless. We did it. Stars above, we're alive. Kayla's great hand rested on his shoulder, grounding him. Alive, she said softly. Then, after a pause, you could have traded me back. Chosen safety. You did not. Jalen looked up at her, grinning despite the exhaustion. What kind of traitor would I be if I gave up my best deal? For the first time, her storm-gray eyes softened with warmth. Together they looked to the stars. No longer mocked, no longer prey. The Folly was no junker, it was a warship. Their warship. And as whispers spread of the human and his giantess who defied empires, Jalen and Kayla prepared to carve their own story into the void. Not bound by kings. Not chained by queens. But by choice.